Okay, one more report, and then we'll be done. The reason I want to show you this report is many times you'll have a report whose data is not very wide, and so it takes up 1 to 3 inches on the left-hand side of the page, and then you've got all this wasted space. One way to get rid of that wasted space is to do a multi-column report. It's another standard report. In this case, I'm actually going to reuse one of my table adapters because the information I want in this multi-column telephone report is the same as it's in that other report, or in that other, the report that we did for mailing labels. So we're going to use that query for a second report. Get rid of that report. Add one, so I already have the data table, or the table adapter. I already have a business class method to get the data out of there, so all I need is a report. And we'll call this one CR multi-column, or let's just call it phone list. Makes it a little more descriptive. Still a standard report. Do everything the same until we start customizing it. So this one's going to come from my mailing labels query. Next. I need both fields. Next. Do I want to do any grouping? No. Do I want to do any filtering? No. Use a standard report. Okay. So here's my stuff. Now, my customer name looks like it's a little bit big, and I'm going to stretch this, make the whole thing a little bit bigger. Please. Thank you. Do I need the print date of this? Yeah, it probably wouldn't be bad, but I'm going to shrink my margins a little bit here. My customer label, bring that over. Here's the customer name, bring that. I don't have any customer names that are that big, so I'm going to select both of these and shrink it down to about 3 inches for a reason I'll show you in a minute, maybe. There we go. And I'm going to tuck the phone numbers underneath. So I think the label I'll take away, and the phone number, what did I say to do this here? Move the phone number under the customer name. So I need a little room. Take this phone number, tuck it underneath, nice and tight. Okay, should be plenty wide, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of space between each record. Remember the white space here, if you put too much in there, it actually shows up. So now there's going to be a big gap between every one of my customer records. I want a little bit of white space, but not too much, and I think these two better align, so I'm going to click them and align them to the left using our trusty dusty buttons. There. Now if I print that report as it sits, whoops, that was dumb. Don't have that report in my form yet. So back to the form one more time. Let's change this to phone list. Add one more. Again, you can see the progressive development of this, and I recommend that. This is where I got to be careful because this one's coming from the mailing label report. So I'm using this report, but that data, perfectly acceptable. And I changed that to phone list. So now I should be able to run it, and we'll just see a bunch of customer names starting at the top, working their way down. But man, there's a lot of wasted space here. So what I want to do is, first of all, make that a little bit bigger, but then move them into multiple columns, because this is going to the next page, and the next page has got just piles and piles of phone numbers. So back to my report. What do I want to change? I want to change this details. Instead of going down the page, I want it to go down and then across. Multiple columns. So I have to change the detail section. So this section expert is what I want to change. And now I remember how to do this here. Somewhere there's a multi-column format for multi-columns. As soon as I select that, I get a layout tab that shows up that wasn't there before. How many columns? According to my notes, I want 3-inch columns, so that's probably 2 columns. And was there a place I could pick the number of columns? Format groups with multiple columns. And the gap between 1/2 inch. Let's go back here. It doesn't ask me how many columns, so based on the width, it's going to figure out how many columns is my guess. Move the phone number, set the multiple column with 3-inch with a 1/2 inch divider. Okay. And then we can talk about direction again. Do we go across and then down with my phone list? Or do I go down a column and then start another column and then start another column? Here I'm not reusing labels, so one or the other. Let's try down and across. This is also where you go with the section expert to change that. So now I should get multiple columns. How come I'm not seeing I thought I saw something different here in multi-column mode. Oh, yes, notice the group header chopped off. And there's my multiple columns. It'd be nice if I had a column header over on this one. A couple of ways you can deal with it. This column header is in a different band, so I can duplicate it. And if I go to 3 with a 1/2 inch gutter, it would be right around there. So I could copy this and paste it and drop it in right around 3.5. This is the band that we trimmed down to 3 inches wide. Notice it comes only up to 3 inches. That's the column that we modified. The rest of this stuff is not necessarily related to that. No, that doesn't look very good. Oh, because there's a margin here. I noticed that margin there. So this, whatever that gap is, I should move this over, but you can eyeball it and change it. So let's go do that. Looks like another 1/2 inch or so. How much is it here? Yep, 1/2 inch. That gap is also duplicated over here when I start the next column. So I need to add another 1/2 inch of this so that they line up a little bit better. And just so that you can see the difference, let's switch again. I want to go to the detail section and the expert. And I want to change it so that it goes across and then down. And now alphabetically we're going this way. That could still be adjusted a little bit, but you got the idea. Next page. Looks like in this one I could experiment with it. This is 3 inches wide. Maybe I could make it 2 inches wide with a 1/2 inch margin, and would it give me 3 columns? You know what, I'm curious today, so let's go find out. First of all, my customer field, it's already too big, but I can tweak it. Same thing with the phone number. And maybe I take them in the labels and move them over, because I don't need all this extra space here. Line to the left. This is going to mess up my column headings, but what I want to see is if I go to the section expert and say you're a 2-inch section, oh, there's an interesting one. Fit the section. No, that was up and down. So back to the section expert. Layout, 2-inch margins with a 1/2 inch in between. That should allow a 3rd column. Go. Now my labels across the top are going to be a little goofy, but I'm hoping I get 3 sections or 3 columns now. Ha! So Crystal Reports is smart enough to figure out if you got 2-inch columns on a portrait piece of paper, I got room for 3 columns. It figures all that out and moves on. I'd have to adjust this, but that's it. I could probably also, no, that ain't gonna work. I was thinking maybe I put these inside somehow so that this is only a 2-inch thing, but I don't think it would repeat over there. No, I have to line these up on my own. Questions about the multi-column report. Then what Kevin's been waiting for, so I'm going to wake him up back there, is, all right, now I got all these nice reports, but how do I let the user choose which report they want? Our form, main form, this form determines which report. So what I'm going to do to my form, that's the data, I need the GUI, form reports. That's the class, where's the form? Form reports. What I'm going to do is add a menu to this. This will initially display some report, though we could probably take that out. I'm going to display some report, but then there's going to be a menu that lets me pick, and every time I pick a menu item, it changes the report. So I'm going to add a menu. We haven't done this in class. There is a menu group here someplace. There it is. I want to add a menu strip. Gets added to the top of my form automatically, gets a name down here, and I'm going to rename it menu main, just in case I decide to refer to it in code. And then the way you build these menus is you simply type here where it says that. Over on the side there, I kind of have a little clue of what I want these to say. This is my report list. And then I could create another menu item, another menu item, another menu item, but I want my reports underneath. So here I want a report called all orders. Putting an ampersand in front just like you did with your field name so that I can use the Alt key to access these things. But if I'm going to do that, then this really ought to have an Alt key as well. So let's go back up there and click, and I should be able to do an R for reports. So here's all orders, and then there's one called box labels. I think if I press enter, it'll move down. Nope. Click and type in there pies by size. Go away. Just having a little trouble keeping up with me here. Used a down arrow, that worked pretty well. Pies by customer. The only thing you have to watch out for when you're putting these ampersands in here is that at the same menu level, you don't have overlapping ones. If I create a submenu out here, you can do that. I could have a C in this menu. To get to it, I would press Alt-R, Alt-C, Alt-C. So as long as in the same level of menus you don't have an overlap, you should be okay. And then there's a phone list. Each one of these needs a name. What I normally do is start with an MNU, and then what many books recommend is I should start with MNU reports list and then the name of the element underneath. But after a while, they start getting this big if you have label, menus inside of menus inside of menus. So I don't usually follow that standard, and I just say this is my all orders report. Okay, and then I click on this one. I should be able to just start typing right away. Menu, oops, guess not. Menu box labels. Menu pies by size. And they don't have to match the text either. You can name them whatever you want. And now I have menu items. But how do I now attach code to these? Pretty much the same way you do radio buttons is what I would suggest. You could double click any one of these, and I will, except these top ones. The top menu items cannot have code attached to them. They're just headers. But any other one I can double click and it will create a menu item, a menu click event, and then if I wish, I can wire all of them to the same one, or I can create a menu click event for each one individually, however I want to deal with it. So I'm going to double click with this one. Let's try again. There we go. I'm going to create a region. Move that down. So here's my item, and let's give this a description. This method displays the selected report. I'm going to change its name from menu all orders to menu reports. Change it everywhere just in case. And now inside here, I need to figure out which one it was. But before I do that, I'm going back to the design. I'm going to click and shift click to select all of those. And then wire them all to that item. That was what menu? Oh boy, I forgot the event name. Must be click. So now they're all wired to the same place. Inside there, I'm going to figure out which report did they request. That code is going to be identical to this code. So I'm going to steal it all. I'm going to cut it. Form load now does nothing. Could remove it completely. Paste. And now whenever I click on a menu item, I need to figure out which one was it. This is very similar to our radio buttons, where we figured out which radio button was it that caused this event. I'm going to take a look at the sender. I'm going to try to get its name. Yeah, we'll try that. So I'm going to create a, not report, report name. Let's do menu name. Could also do menu text and look at its text to see what text appears in the menu. I think the name is just as good. So what I'm going to do is talk to the sender and say, give me your name, but a sender is an object. An object doesn't have names. My notes, I think, give me a clue. Create a click event to handle them all. It is a tool strip menu item. That's what one of those things is called. So instead of converting the sender to a radio button, we have to convert it to a tool strip menu item. And again, this is code you're probably just going to steal. Tool strip menu item sender. Convert it and give me its name. Please. No. Tool strip menu item. Let's try typing it, see if it helps. Tool strip menu item. Oh, this, I got my parentheses in the wrong place. There we go. Convert the sender, and I have my parentheses in the wrong place. Convert the sender to a tool strip menu item. That gives me this whole thing, and then give me its name. Now I just need to modify these to use the names that we had, and I've already forgotten all of them. I think it was menu, was it menu mailing labels? Were the labels even there? Box labels, and that was menu, I called it menu box labels. Okay. I don't have enough screen space here. I might be able to. Oh, come on. So this one was menu box labels. This one was all orders. Menu pies by size. Menu pies by customer. And there's no reason I have to do this after the fact. When you're doing your crystal reports, if you want to create that report form and immediately add a menu to it and let this take care of every time you click on something, you can do that. And finally, phone list. Uh-oh. And I'm doing this after the fact just to show you how to link things together and then how to do multiples, but this is a better idea. Menu, phone, list, and now I hope that all of those are correct. Bring stuff back together, so I have so much wasted space here. And now whenever we click on a menu item, we generate a new report. Let's give it a go. What happens when I launch this form? Nothing. So it's just going to sit there, an empty report. Maybe I want to, in here, say, pretend like they clicked on the all orders report. I could pick one. For right now, let's just start empty and see what happens when we generate one. Started empty. Here's my menu. Go. Still don't like that one, but you get the idea. Not bad. We already had all the code because of the way I built it, but you could have built that code inside the menu as you were going. The only thing you'd have to do when you test it, when you test each report as you build it, is pick it from the list. Where before I added it so in a form load, my report showed up right away and I didn't have to click on a list. Your choice. That works. So now our last process is how do I tie that into my main form? Because this is all part of my pizza shop thing. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. That's form reports. We need that one. Don't need the XSD. Don't need the classes. Don't need the report. There's the design of that one. We'll need it. We need the code, probably. So I'm going to bring my form pizza back. And I'm going to put it back as my startup form. Remember way back at the beginning of this lesson, we changed the startup form from pizza to reports for testing purposes. So I don't have to go to pizza and then somehow jump to reports and then so on. Put that back. Save that. Now, how do I want to pick my reports here? Same way. Let's add a menu. Didn't do it. Oh, missed. There it goes. And it covered stuff up, so now I need to make this a little smaller, make this a little bigger. Slide everybody down. Except the picture. Oh, come on. Hit the arrow keys. Shouldn't that make it go down? There they go. Just got to get the search guy back in my window. That looks pretty good. Oops. It moved these inside the group. Oh. At least it moved the group down with. I'm surprised it did that. When I said select all, it select the stuff inside the group, but I guess that makes sense. Okay, put them back. Might make the grid bigger. There's all kinds of things you can do. But now I have a menu. I think we could have done this. I already have a menu. Can I copy it to the clipboard? No complaints. Can I paste it over here? Now it's gone, but I'm going to paste it into here. Paste. Now it's back, and it's populated. Oh. So now all I have to do is run it and go, no. Not that simple. I got the menu, which is good. I don't have to rebuild all the MNU ampersand junk. It's all done, but there's no code. So next thing I need to do is go back to my form here and steal my menu region. If I collapse it, I think I can steal it all at once, sort of. Cut. Yep. Paste it back. And then go to this one. Code, please. And maybe down at the bottom, create another region for menus here. Paste. So there's my region. I do have a menu reports, but this is not going to be wired. Just because I copied the code doesn't mean it's wired, so I need to go back to the code, select all my items, wire them all at once to the click event. Where is it? There it is. Why is it at the end? Because that's the way they appear in the form, even though I have it in a different region, that's where it appears. So now they're wired, and the code is pretty much the same except for one thing. I need to transfer to the other report, to the other form. I hope my notes help because I forgot to look this up. In form reports. In form reports designer, make all the named menu items public or change them out of. Ooh. So I did it differently. In the form reports designer, okay. To access these reports from another form, copy the menu, we did that. Make the menu items public in the designer file. I forgot to read this, so let's go back over here. Here's my designer for reports. I want to go into the designer file. I want to find all those menu items. Here they are. They're private, which means only this form can get to them. But these are the items. Is that what I want? It might be. Should have tested it, sorry. I want to do a private, replace with public. In the selection, do them all. Okay, so now these guys are public. What that means is my main form can actually click this form. Can click the menu item on that form. So over here in this code that was all complicated, I can take all this out. And the downside of leaving it all in is if I change something, I got to change all those. And instead, simply click the menu item on the other report. First thing I have to do, though, is create an instantiation of that report from within here. I want to create a form reports, or FRM, I just don't like having the same name as the class, confuses me. So this says, take that template for the report form, instantiate it, and make this thing point to it. Now it exists. Inside here, I simply say form show reports dot menu, go away. There's no menus. Or change the modifier property of each menu item. The reports designer make all the named menu items public or change the modifier property. Maybe I better save it. I should be able to access it from here now. Oh, got the wrong name. Thank you. There we go. This one's supposed to be the box labels. Come on, pick it. And then the last thing we need to do, this all goes away because this form doesn't actually display them. So this goes away. Copied a little too much. Create a new report form. Figure out which menu they want, which menu item they want, and then simply show that form. Now I got two choices here. I can do a show, or I can do show dialog. What's the difference? Show simply says make a form, show it. And I can switch back and forth. Is that what I want? Maybe. Or I can do a show dialog, which is what you did with your welcome screen, right? Say, show me the welcome screen, but don't let the form underneath do anything until that one's gone. Let's try show. So, do. I deleted too much. Okay, so what this does is it said, make me one of those report things. Pretend like somebody clicked on the menu over there for this report and then show that form. Now my pizza order should start up again. With nothing over here, I thought I fixed that. Notice it comes up maximized, but doesn't show my report. Still works here. Why isn't it working there? Instantiate it. Show it. Oh, show it, then click it. Really? Okay. So here I instantiate it, immediately show it, and then this one clicks it. Now, if you're going to do this, and I don't think we have a choice here, if you're going to do this, you can't do a dialog, because if you do show dialog, this method pauses until that other form is closed, which means we don't get a chance to click it, I think. Let's see if that solves the problem.
Are you selecting all orders, and that's under menu box labels?
Oh, good grief. Thank you. Okay, so to finish this up, and I will finish the recording and it'll finish everything, I will fix this so that in the final version of your pizza report, this shows up, because I did find the solution to that. I think it stole Kevin's for the most part. Okay, so for all the rest of these, I just click a different button. And what's nice is now that I'm here, I don't have to go back to see a different report. Another thing that's nice is I can resize this window, and there's my other window. I can go back to it and say, give me the all orders report. And now I got 3 windows, and I can start comparing data amongst reports. If I got the full 24-inch monitor times 3, I can see all kinds of reports. What occasionally happens is when you close these and come back here and say, now I want a different report, it'll lock up. My notes talk about that. There's a problem. I thought it was in C#. In 2010, it happened all the time. In 2013, it seems to be okay, but every now and then somebody runs into an issue where it won't display that other report. Your program actually crashes. If that happens to you, ignore it if you wish. Because I never did find the solution. What happens is that this file, this VS host exe, doesn't delete, and it chokes on the dataset source. When that form closes, this VS host is supposed to disappear. And it hangs in there, and then the next time you try to set the data source, it chokes. It's not happening to me here, thank goodness. If it happens to you, buy a new computer. It might have something to do with 64-bit versus 32-bit. I don't know what causes it. Could never find a solution. Luckily, in 2013, it went away because it was kind of annoying. You could go from the form to the reports, and from the reports, you could change as many as you want, but as soon as you close the reports form and then try to launch another one, it would crash. I never did find a solution to that. Okay, I think this is my plan. There are still calculated fields. I want to make a recording for that. I'm going to do that Thursday. There are calculated fields and there are parameters. This gives me statistics for every single pizza order that I've ever had in my store. Now, in our case, there aren't that many months. And there are some. But what if this was years and years and years of data? When the report comes up, it would be nice if when the report comes up, I pick which year's worth of data or which month range of data I want to see. That's what parameters allow us to do. Calculated fields allow me to add stuff to the form that's calculated in the form instead of in the query. Why didn't I just do it in the query? I really don't know. Calculated fields can also let us do concatenation. Sometimes that comes in handy. But that's what I'm going to talk about in the last recording, but this is not required for your homework assignment. While you're working on that, I'll check to make sure. If you see anything that says create a parameter report, that's not extra credit. If you see anything that says create a calculated field, it's not extra credit. I haven't updated the homework yet. I don't expect you to do those this year. I do expect you to create a label, standard report, one with charts. I think that may be a multi-column in there. But you saw that with a little dinking around, it doesn't take too long to create a report. Let's take the last 2 minutes to talk about the rules for the rest of the semester. Thursday is all lab, except I'll be lecturing and recording this stuff. You can watch if you wish, or you can just continue working, but I won't be helping you because I do need to record it. Unless I can find last year's recording and it just happens to match up with this, and maybe I'll just bring that in because it shouldn't be any different. Your homework assignments, 6 is due on the 13th. Crystal Reports is due on the 13th at midnight. Again, don't test me. If you want a shot at an update, I need it by Sunday around 6 o'clock is what I've been saying. If I get it by 6, I will try to get it graded for you so that you'll have time to fix it, turn it in for updates. Anything that comes in after Sunday, no promises. The Unit 6 evaluation sheets, each one of you, when you turn them in, takes me between 30 and 45 minutes to grade one because it's the entire program. I look at every single thing to make sure when you leave here, you've got a very nice Unit 6 project that you can show off to potential employers or your friends. So they take a little bit of time. So if Unit 6 is what you're turning in on Sunday, sooner the better, folks. Anything turned in after Sunday is final. I'm not even going to offer you update points. So if you turn it in Monday afternoon, I will grade it. There will be no update points offered. Whatever grade you get is what grade you get. All updates, everything due Wednesday 13th, midnight. I think I already talked to all of you about this, but there is a, no, Robert didn't see it. There is a take a survey button on the Programming Logic Blackboard page now. Please do. Take the survey for Programming Logic. Tell me what you like, what you don't like about the class. If you want to talk about me, go ahead, but I don't care anymore. No, I'll listen. Who knows? I might be teaching again. But what I'm more interested in is what you liked about the way the class was offered. What in the last class, somebody said recording, somebody said update points, somebody said whatever you like. Let me know, because that information gets passed on to the next instructor so that they can do the same kinds of things for next year's class, and also so that they know kind of how spoiled, rotten babies you are when they get you in the next class. Questions? Trevor? I'm sorry? Oh, when do I want NQA cards? No later than Wednesday before I go home, and that'll be 6 o'clock. Not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. I got to have them before I leave, so like, well, if you want to bring them with a sandwich on Thursday when I'm grading, I'll take them today, sure. Just make sure you got your name on them, write the word extra credit, which course it's for, because I'm going to start getting piles of these things. I need to be able to sort them out. So name, course number, extra credit.